town of Lorimai is known for its foreboding spires, 16th century timber frame cottages, and magnificent sandstone fountains. But its most spectacular edifice is a domineering tower that seems ripped out of the pages of a storybook, the Lower Castle. This medieval citadel is now the Spessart Museum. On display are glass chalices made by local artisans, a recreation of a 1950s general store, and a taxidermy stag that once graced the Spessart forests. But among these eclectic artifacts is one relic that seems more enchanting than the rest.
It is very ornate, red with gold engraved glass, with overlapping ovals, within which are some words, amor propria, meaning self-love.
This gilded mirror is said to have belonged to an evil villainess who inspired the world's greatest fairy tale.
This mirror was the real magic behind A Tale of Love and Revenge.
It's 1819. Children all over the world are spellbound by a magical new book, an illustrated collection of fairy tales written by two brothers from Germany, Jacob and Wilhelm Grimm. The tales feature everything from dragons and sorcerers to fairy godmothers and enchanted forests.
They were stories of good against evil, such as Sleeping Beauty and Hansel and Gretel.
But the most bewitching of them all is the tale of Snow White. The story tells of a beautiful princess and her wicked stepmother, and features such fanciful details as a talking mirror, a poison apple, and a group of 7 dwarf miners. The epic fable goes on to captivate generations of readers the world over, and eventually spawns a beloved 1937 animated Disney film, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
The tale of Snow White was one of the most famous fairy tales of all time.
But what few people realize is that within the pages of this whimsical fantasy hides an incredible secret. In 1986, a German researcher named Karl-Heinz Bartels makes an extraordinary claim: that Snow White was no fairy tale. She was real. And what's more, he can prove it.
He discovered that the fairy tale was based on real people.
So what's the stunning truth behind Snow White? Snow White, the famous story of a fair young girl, her evil stepmother, and 7 dwarfs, has enchanted children for generations. Most consider it nothing more than a fairy tale. But in 1986, a researcher named Karl-Heinz Bartels makes an incredible claim: that Snow White was a true story. So who really was the fairest of them all? Bartels says that the real Snow White was a German princess named Maria Sophia von Erpel, who was born in the Lower Castle in Lorimai.
Maria Sophia was born into an aristocratic family. She was very kind and extraordinarily beautiful.
Just like Snow White, Maria Sophia was raised by a wicked stepmother. Her name was Claudia Elizabeth.
Maria Sophia's stepmother was very obsessed with her own image and wasn't really very happy taking on the children of the previous marriage.
And the parallels with Snow White don't stop there. Shortly after they married, Maria's father gave his new bride an ornate mirror, embellished with the words amor propria, meaning self-love. The same mirror can still be found at the Lower Castle.
These mirrors were of such high quality that they were always said to speak the truth.
Bartels believes that the inspiration for the talking mirror in Snow White comes from this gift and its vain inscription. As Maria Sophia grew ever more beautiful, her stepmother was consumed with envy. Her reign of terror was so horrible that Maria Sophia was forced to flee the castle. Although little is known of Maria Sophia after her exile, Bartels claims that the rest of the story of Snow White comes from other geographic and historic details about the Loramen region. In the early 18th century, the region was home to no less than 7 Mayans. And the men who worked there all shared a distinctive physical trait.
They were quite small, or certainly malnourished and deformed because of the kind of work they did. They were often referred to as dwarves.
Bartels' astonishing findings lead droves of tourists to Loramen to see the setting that inspired the Brothers Grimm's most famous story.
Loramen have truly embraced the tale of Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs.
And today, at the Lohr Castle in Germany, visitors can gaze into this stunning talking mirror and remember that just sometimes fairy tales can be real. Victorian Mansions, a war memorial from the 1920s, and the oldest market house in the county make Columbia, Pennsylvania seem like a town frozen in time. So it's fitting that it's home to the National Watch and Clock Museum. The collection includes classic grandfather clocks, one of the world's first atomic timepieces, and a recreation of an early watch repair shop. But among these hulking displays is a much smaller timepiece.
The object is round, and it's got a little gold nib on the top. The face is painted with Roman numerals. The casing is made out of 18-karat gold.
This 1847 pocket watch was once one of the most extravagant symbols of wealth an individual could own. But what few realize is that timepieces like this also inspired a devious thief whose methods gave birth to a new breed of crook.